Welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Mary Stark Carter. It's my privilege to be a host today and one of the presenters in our emotional wellness during stressful times talk. Never in our lifetime, or at least my lifetime, has it been so stressful. And I really felt led to host this meeting, not just what's going on in the world, but I just got through going through two hurricanes. And I know so many of you are going through life changes right now, whether it's just a simple transition of your child going off to college or getting married or having your first grandchild, or you're on the other end and you're taking care of ailing parents or a spouse or a loved one in hospice, or you're dealing with your own health issues. It is an emotional, definitely an emotional time for so many of us. So we thank you for coming. And again, go ahead and have questions and things. We're going to run through this presentation. We hope that you can stay to the end. If you can't, we'll make sure that everyone gets the recording. If you're watching the recording and you have this link, get back to the person who invited you, or make sure you message us in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. If you have any questions or if you're dealing with someone, because we know we have resources for you to help you as well. And I'm joined by some great health practitioners and great coaches, wellness coaches here. So just thank you so much for all of you who are joining us today. All right, so we are going to move through the slides here, and this I'm my co-host here and coach, wellness coach, and weight loss coach. Wendy's going to be helping me go through the slides because I don't have control. So Wendy, go ahead and let's take us through the slides. Or maybe I do. No, I don't think I do. All right. Well, first up, let's talk about emotions. Emotions versus feelings. Think of emotions as our body's response, or physical fear, joy, anger, sadness. Feelings is more of like our mind, worry, happiness, bitterness, feeling down in the dumps or depressed, embarrassed, upset, annoyed. Next slide. Internal versus external factors. Okay. So if we think of how our body responds to emotions, the internal factors of that are our hormones. Like literally, when we feel an emotion, we have a hormonal response. We have a neurotransmitter, which is like our brain and our body. We have an attitude and a mindset change. External factors of emotions, life events, stressors, conditioning, how we've been raised, what we think about what's happening in the world right now. Our next slide. So common effects of stress, right, on our body. How many of you, you can raise your hand or write it in the chat. How many of you have had some of these things? Maybe a headache during a stressful time, muscle tension or pain, chest pain, fatigue, change in your sex drive, stomach upset, sleep problems. Maybe on your mood, you felt anxious during a stressful time. Maybe you're starting a new job or you have a sick loved one. Restlessness, lack of motivation or focus. I really struggled with this. I was telling my mentor and my coaches that I work with, I said, after the hurricane, I was so grateful that we were kind of right in the path of this last Hurricane Milton, and we knew about it for, quite some time before it happened. So there was just this buildup, and after it was done and our home was okay and our friends were okay, there was just this huge lack of motivation and focus. And I couldn't understand what was going on in my body. Feeling overwhelmed, irritable, more angry, sadness, depression, on our behavior. And this is a big one that a lot of us work with. And I know Coach Wendy does in her total transformation program. But a lot of times our behavior when we have stress is overeating and undereating, anger outbursts, drug or alcohol misuse, tobacco use, social withdrawal, exercising less often, right? Next slide. and a good time to take a water break, and remind all of you that it's always good to make sure when you're taking a class that you have a notebook with you, you have your water or your special healthy drink with you. You're going to see in a few minutes some other tools that is always good to help you focus. Okay, maybe you have the next slide, but I'm not
Sorry,
seeing.
yeah, it's like doing
Jamming it.
something very strange. Hang on a second.
Okay, well, I'm gonna pull out and go to my thing, and I can talk while you do that.
Here, let me just get out and back in because it
No
just
worries. So, emotional wellness, the ability to successfully handle life stresses and adapt to change in difficult times. Think about that, friends. How is your emotional wellness? How is your ability to successfully handle life stresses and adapt to change in difficult times? For me, I've had a lot of these experiences in my life. We've had a lot of cross country moves. My husband's had a horrific accident. Like many of you, I have parents and family members who passed away suddenly or gone through different things. So I thought that my emotional wellness was at almost 50 years old, that was at a higher place than it was. But I'm so grateful that I have mentors and coaches in my life that kind of help me see these areas that I need to help. Now let's talk about emotional processing. Okay, so there's emotional wellness, and part of emotional wellness is emotional processing. And I kind of forgot about this because in a second we're going to give you some tools and different things that can help you with the processing. But what I was finding is that I wasn't making the time for myself to process what I was going with. And you can silently raise your hand or shake your head. How many of you, how many of you actually make the time to to hold on, I'm just gonna mute. How many of you make the time? How many of you make the time for your emotional wellness, right? You might make time to exercise, you might make time um, for your weekly spiritual fulfillment. Maybe you go to church or you do some of the techniques we're going to share, but how many of you really, if you thought about it, you've carved out time in your life for emotional processing? So, emotional processing is approaching, accepting, symbolizing, tolerating, regulating, making meaning of, and utilizing and or transforming emotions. So I'll say that again: approaching, accepting, symbolizing, tolerating, regulating, making meaning of, and utilizing or transforming emotions. If left unprocessed, it's only a matter of time before emotions affect your health. Now, many years ago, I learned the science behind this, right? If we think about maybe something dramatic like a car accident, and we're not maybe hurt, but maybe the airbag goes off and we're traumatized. Maybe we have a little bit of bruising and stuff. Every cell of our body experienced that trauma. Every cell of our body experienced that trauma. Weird, right? So you think about the bruising, you might think about your chest, but every cell of your body experienced that trauma and actually remembers that trauma too. So if I just go back to work the next day, or if I just, don't allow myself to think about what I went through, to process what I went through, to help regulate my nervous system, I might end up with all of a sudden maybe tension headaches. Or I might be driving one day, and this could be months or even years later. I could be driving one day, and all of a sudden I feel like I'm having a panic attack because somewhere in my body, I haven't processed what I went through, haven't processed that trauma, and now I'm being triggered years later. Does that make sense? So we're going to talk about processing emotions, but I'm just going to read this comment here. My husband has struggled with sleep issues for a time. Since he was a teen, he had emotional trauma as a child and felt abandoned and alone. Didn't learn to work on his feeling. Now that he's in his late 50s, he doesn't get into deep sleep. He's tried Immune Pro, which is a melatonin type supplement, and didn't feel good when he took it. Took a break after 2 weeks. His mind keeps working very often. He has terrible nightmares, so he wakes up groggy and not together. He also suffers from depression and has been on medication for the past 24 years. He's now trying to do things more naturally and open to learning. That is that is so wonderful. And we're going to talk about some things to do that, but your body can have that kind of trauma that maybe wasn't processed or you couldn't as a child and later on. But again, it can be something very mild. Like I have seen little accidents, nothing where the car was wrecked or anything, but little accidents in my clients later on, months later, years later, cause this emotional unrest, right? And cause their body. And there can be lots of different reasons why it happens later in our life. You know, a lot of you know that I talk a lot about menopause, and I'm learning a whole lot as our body shifts and our neurotransmitters shift and our estrogens go down, you know, as we hit into our 40s and into our 50s and beyond, that our bodies can't handle the stress like we once would, right? Can't handle the stress like we once would. Okay, there we go. All right, processing emotions. Recognize the emotions. So what can we do? What can we do? And I learned this from a great mentor. Her name was Mama Hug. She was a Christian counselor for many, many, many years, decades. And when you are feeling triggered, and a trigger might be your heart racing, feeling of like a lot of overwhelm, sweating, an angry outburst, a trigger, you might notice a trigger like for me, I have a family member who, you know, I'll just say it, that kind of stresses me out and my cortisol will go up, and then I'll find myself like picking up, eating a bite here, like I'll find myself emotionally eating. So that's one way you can recognize, uh-oh, there's an emotion going on. What am I feeling? So recognize that. Recognize I'm angry, you know, I'm I'm feeling like give that emotion words. Allow yourself to feel it. And then here is the next thing. Where do you feel it? And I know several of us coaches have taken training recently where we learned, oh, my goodness, like you can actually feel emotion in the body when you really dig in and you think about it and you name it and you allow yourself to feel these things that you can, oh my goodness, it's in my chest. It's in my chest. Oh, I'm feeling rejected and it feels so heavy there, right? And it feels like it's almost crushing there, right? So identify the cause of the emotion, the trigger. Is it a boundary that got crossed? Is it a thought? Is it your own thought? You know, like you're going down the worry train. Is it a behavior pattern? Is it an unfulfilled need? What's the cause of the emotion? And then validate it. I was working with a mentor and I was saying, you know, I really just don't have anything to be, I'm a spoiled brat. I'm like, because all of these things had happened in just this period of time around the hurricane. And she said, wait a second, Mary. She goes, you cannot allow your emotion to go unvalidated and or compare it to someone else's situation. See? So worse versus a person who had such trauma, like our friend talked about as a child, versus someone who's just going through a very stressful financial time, right? Both of those are traumatic in their sense, and we cannot compare each other's pain, right? Each other's emotion, each of their circumstances. We can't do that. So really, I hope you hear that as well. Okay, next up. All right, stress reactions, right? So when we have so I'm talking about emotions and stress kind of hand in hand, but we do need to understand this because this is something I have recently also been studying is our body's reaction to stress. So stress hormone cortisol, okay? Have you heard of the fight or flight? When our body is stressed out, years and years, and when we were not as advanced as we are now, our body has this natural response in our nervous system. There's the parasympathetic, digestion, relax, procreate, and sympathetic, right? Like stressed, lions chasing us. Oh no, we've got to get away from harm. So, in our body and our adrenal glands, in our endocrine system, a lot of times we will go back and forth from this parasympathetic to sympathetic fight or flight process. But what's happened in our modern society, particularly here in North America, is, and Australia, and I could name lots of other places, but we have an overabundance of cortisol, and or overabundance of cortisol. Now, what do I mean by that? That's the stress hormone. And so we have a stressful experience, and then we get into this fight or flight, and our body's like, okay, like the hurricane. I was in the fight or flight. I was in the fight or flight. Okay, gotten everything ready. We're ready to go. This is what we're doing. This is our plan. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. And then the hurricane's over, and my body is still wanting to go in that fight or flight, and it's burning out my adrenal glands. It's causing all these stress reactions. It's depleting my vitamins and minerals. And this is what happens during stressful periods. So if you go through a trauma or a divorce or you're a caregiver, every day there seems like there's something happening. Or if you're watching the news, right, and you're seeing what's going on in the world, you probably are having a lot of this stress hormone, cortisol going on in your body. And when that happens, okay, so back to my talk about your body and what's happening in it, what happens is your blood sugar, your insulin levels have much higher incidence of going up and down, up and down, up and down. And I recently show you, because I know one of my friends on here was telling me she would never do this. But I have, oops, this arm, yes, I have a blood glucose continuing monitor, right? And this is not a needle in my skin, friends. This is just taped on there, and it's measuring my blood sugar levels through the interstitial fluid in my body. So it lasts about 2 weeks. So I looked at this and I looked at what sleep and stressful time, just many stressful situations, like an interaction with a person it was a stressful interaction, or I had a deadline or and stuff. And you could literally see the blood sugar going up because my body's saying, okay, let go of all the blood sugar. We've got to go fight something. And it would go up and it would go down. It would go up and it would go down. And that's not what we want. It's not what we want our bodies to do, right? We want them, and we can do a whole class on that. That's if you're interested in that. But it was really, really interesting. So important to understand that in your stress reaction. And then chronic stress can lead to aches and pains, insomnia, sleeplessness, changes in social behavior, emotional responses like impatience, anxiety, freeze, right? And this is what I was stuck into. I could not get myself to move forward. I was like, what is going on with me? And it wasn't until I processed the emotion that I was feeling hopeless, that I was feeling defeated, that I, I actually was able to name the emotion, understand it, that I could get out of that freeze. For me, some people flee, right? They don't answer their phone, they go off. Some people fight, freeze, flight. Maybe some of the other coaches can comment or write in the chat what the other emotional responses are. Low energy, fatigue, unfocused or cloudy thinking, changes in appetite, emotional eating, weight gain. We talked about a little bit about that as well. All right. So we've talked about the problem, and we know that emotions, stress all of that. It is so important. And our friend here says, so true. We don't pay attention to our stress and emotions. Most of us live in such rushed lives, right? We do. But there is hope. And I'm so excited to bring that to you. I've been experiencing and studying this with clients for a lot of years. And one of the ways that we can affect our nervous system and that uh, our emotions, but also that sympathetic fight or flight and the parasympathetic is through smell. Smell in the limbic system. This is a system that our body, God gave us that allows us when we smell a smell, it goes directly to the emotional part of our brain called the limbic system. And there it can actually create a physiological change in our body. It can actually cause our body's cortisol levels to go down. It can create a hormonal response just through smell. So let's talk about some of the tools because what we're talking about today, and I have to take a minute to share, is the smells that we're talking about today are not your Bath and Body Works. They're not your health food store, good brand of essential oils. It's not a Yankee candle that you love. And maybe those things do make you feel nice, but we're today really talking about premium essential oils. We're talking about things that are no additives, no chemicals, made really well, all the way from knowing how the soil and the seeds, all the way from seed to seal. We talk about that. It's our seed to seal promise. So the next slide I'm going to talk to you about is aromatherapy, tools for optimal wellness. And this is something that I think everyone right now needs to be doing on a increased basis. Even if you have essential oils in your home, maybe use them on a daily basis because of what's going on in the world, in our lives, all of those things. It's really, really important to use essential oils. We have, and I forgot to bring it with it, but we have a variety of ways that you can inhale essential oils, that you can use aromatherapy. We have a beautiful essential oil kits. We have several kits. I love the premium essential oil kit because in there, out of what is it, the 12 essential oils, you get 3 of my favorite. I mean, there's so many beautiful, but Stress Away is such a beautiful oil to be diffusing. I love to put it just topically on my skin or in my hair. I become a natural little diffuser to use that. I love peace and calming on the bottoms of my feet at night. My dog, who sometimes gets very stressed out, when the family is stressed out, she loves the peace and calming oil. We'll put that on her paws or on her fur. And then Valor oil. Valor is a beautiful oil to really keep you feel very grounded. If you're going into your day to day and you're just feeling very like distracted, you're feeling low endurance, low motivation, Valor oil on the bottoms of the feet and then inhaled, maybe over the chest or over the shoulders. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful oil. And then we have a whole line of diffusers where you can put a diffuser in your workplace. We just gave a whole lot of diffusers to my son's school. So they have them in the classroom. But it's just a beautiful, beautiful way to use essential oils. And there's so much research on inhalation in PubMed, peer-reviewed journals on aromatherapy, specific pure premium essential oils, aromatherapy, and what it does for the body. But I highly recommend if you're not using this tool already that you do that. And then, of course, get back to the person who invited you to watch this because they probably have some kind of coupon or discount code for you too. So here's my little saying. I say 5 times a day keeps me in a happy way. These are 2 of my favorite. Joy essential oil was such a beautiful essential oil when I was going through a really dark time in my life after some miscarriages and just very, very stressed out periods of life. So I would diffuse that. I would put it on a tissue and just inhale that. And then during those hard times and during this time, I would probably say 10 times a day keeps me in a happy way. Just smelling those essential oils is so, so good. Now, this next slide, I wrote this quote. It says, nothing will work unless you do. Now, going back to what I shared with you about emotional wellness and emotional processing, and we talked about taking the time, carving out the time for your health. Now, one of our wellness coaches you're going to hear from and our weight loss coaches, she has a program called the Total Transformation. And all of us, I've recently, back in 2021, released over 50 pounds. And what I did to do that was not just go on a diet. I actually carved out time to process my emotions and understand how I got here, understand how stress was causing me to eat, and like just to really process through that. Now, remember, I talked about aromatherapy. Young Living Essential Oils, the company of essential oils that we're talking about, they have these beautiful kits. One is called the Feelings Kit that allows you to take the time daily, daily to, or as needed, to really go through and process emotions, to think about it. You might journal with it. It's such a beautiful, beautiful kit of essential oils. And there's several of us who use this kit to get through barriers and breakthroughs. And I could tell you story upon story of individuals like my friend Megan, who released over 100 pounds. And Megan, this was what she did faithfully every day. She had time with God, she had time with her feelings kit, and she did this faithfully every day. I've had individuals who use this kit who breaking through things in their businesses where they just kept kind of hitting the wall and just not making profits in their businesses. And the feelings kit was something that really broke through. Maybe it was a feeling of rejection or whatever it was, but they used this kit. So aromatherapy can help lower our stress hormones, or when we're dealing with emotions, do that. But these beautiful kits can really help us process in a deeper way as well. All right, next up is movement. Now, I put some essential oils by there of movement because did you know that actually physically moving the body is called somatic release, can help you process emotions? And I'm not even talking about exercise yet, but just moving your body when you feel that tension, when you feel that overwhelm, that stress, get up, move your body, just roll your shoulders, take some deep breaths. Breathing exercise is so, so good. These two oils are just beautiful too. If you have pain and stuff, they're a great combination of oils to use to just help lower that. But Valor and Peppermint, just beautiful. Again, those two come in our premium essential oil kit. And next up is tools for exercise, emotional wellness, exercise. So movement is wonderful, but actually getting your body into a zone 2 or higher cardiovascular pushes all of these endorphins into your bodies. These happy hormones allows you not only to process emotions, but to dramatically lower the stress hormone, lower the inflammation in your body, really helps you deal with stress. And I think anyone who's been through our Rev Up weight loss program, our monthly program challenge that we do, or the Total Transformation, they know that exercise is just so, so beneficial for you too. Now, next up is sleep. And again, we heard in the beginning about an individual who he had trauma early in his life and he's not able to get into that deep, deep sleep. Okay. Well, not addressing the trauma, but just those of you who want a better night's sleep, here are some things that have been proven. One, diffusing essential oils. Wake Forest University researched Young Living's lavender oil, Lavandula gustifolia, and they found this to be so effective. And you can look at the peer-reviewed article, but more effective than some of the leading sleep drugs, right? So lavender essential oil. Ninja Red, there's a lot of great research about our super juice, antioxidant juice, Ninja Red, and how it benefits a good night's sleep. In fact, individuals are getting higher. We'll talk about that in a second. Deep Night Essence. This is a win-win for those of you who want to get in that deep sleep, right? We have all different types of sleep, REM sleep, light sleep, but that deep sleep is really too where we help heal the body and restore the body as well. And there's such good, at least clinical research right now or anecdotal, but everyone who has those Apple Watches and sleep trackers says that the Deep Night Essence is very good. And they like it much better than melatonin, much better than melatonin. So sleep is important. If you do not sleep when you go through a traumatic experience, your body cannot process the emotions correctly. And it's just my opinion, but then I feel that those that will eventually lead to disease. And I've seen that in multiple clients through the years and multiple patients. All right, next up, we're going to talk about beverages. Now, why would I talk about beverages? When we do sugary drinks or a lot of caffeine or even alcohol, we are throwing off our endocrine system and our body's ability to be able to deal with things. We might feel better. You know, I love my caffeine in the morning. I feel like it kind of gives me an upliftment, but it's we don't want to become dependent on these things to feel good. Okay. So that's all I want to say on that. But we definitely want to increase our water and then substitute some of those things for that Ninja Red drink I talked about a little bit earlier, and I will talk a little bit later. Finally, nutrition tools for optimal wellness. We want to increase whole foods. We want to decrease sugar and carbs during stressful times. It is so important. I know when we don't feel good or we just want we want that dopamine hit. It's so easy to go for the chocolate bar or something that'll make us feel better. But I promise you, friends, you will get so much more benefit. Your body will love you so much more when we're going for the more whole foods and better foods for ourselves. And now I want to talk about Ninja Red and how it can support your wellness and your emotional wellness. It is a supplement that boosts energy, improves sleep, it reduces stress, and supports healthy inflammation responses, your stress response, and overall well being. Like these are all things that have been proven, and we have been working. Well, myself, I've been taking this since 2007 and helped thousands of clients start using this as a tool, not just a supplement, but more of a foundational nutritional piece in their day-to-day wellness. And we've seen more and more studies. This is before we had any of these studies, but people would say, I sleep better. Oh my goodness, I feel so much better. When you can get the inflammation to go down with good diet, nutrition, and exercise, you can lower things like blood pressure and all of these things that it can be very harmful to our health. Oh, I kind of popped this in here. Tools for optimal wellness. Of course, we talked about journaling and stuff like that too, but I want to talk about the benefits of Ninja Red here. You can see this slide. Reduces daily stress by 23%. Your sleep improves sleep patterns, increases time of sleep, and decreases time to fall asleep. Now, if you have not seen this, if you started on Ninja Red and you haven't seen this, maybe you're taking 2 ounces a day, 4 ounces a day, we have some tips for you in our Rev Up wellness program and the total transformation program that can help you utilize your Ninja Red at a different level. And I get this a lot. Well, I tried Ninja Red and I felt some energy. I felt this, but there are tips and tools that you can use while you use Ninja Red that make it so much better. And sometimes it's just increasing the amount of Ninja Red if you want to fully get all of these great results as well. So finally, to that I kind of want to end on a couple of things here. So support, coaching, counseling, and accountability. Support, coaching, counseling, and accountability. If you are struggling to process through your emotions, maybe you're transitioning like me and going through menopause, and it's a different time in your life. Maybe, like I said, you're having any of those life you know, transitions, it's good to have support. It's good to have a coach. I highly recommend counseling, but it's also good to have accountability, to be able to check in with someone who, someone or a group of someone's that can help keep you on track, support you, uplift you, encourage you, and tell you when you are off track. So many times we don't want this piece, right? We don't want the accountability. We're afraid of the accountability, but it's the one thing that we have found as weight loss coaches and wellness coaches that really brings people to another level. Absolutely. Prayer and meditation, just you can't, I'm such an advocate. I am a Christian. I fully believe that God has kept me because I've kept with him too. And going through really hard times, I have experienced the grace and the peace that passes all understanding. And I do believe that's because of my relationship. You know, loving God, loving Jesus, it doesn't mean that bad things won't happen in our life. But when you have this tool, um, it makes it takes such a load off of you. And I definitely know there's research with how it affects our stress and all of those things as well. So, all right. So I have talked a lot about emotions and emotional wellness. We talked about what are emotions, what are feelings, some of the things that you can experience going through those things. We talked about how stress affects the body, and then we gave you some tools, and we talked a lot about aromatherapy. And just inhaling and smelling 5 times a day helps keep us in a healthy way. So go grab your Young Living essential oil, take it out, start inhaling your essential oil, and you'll find certain essential oils are really great. We talked about the premium essential oil kit and how we have oils like Peace and Calming and Stress Away and Valor essential oil. I didn't even talk about frankincense, one of the most powerful oils when you're going through hard times to help really keep yourself grounded. There's a couple samples of the Ninja Red, and our premium essential oil kits come with diffusers as well. So diffusing, inhaling, making yourself a personal diffuser with your hair throughout, getting rid, we didn't even talk about getting rid of the toxic things in your life, but that can be for another day. And we talked about processing emotions, emotional processing, making time to actually process our emotions. We talked about some of the advanced kits that we have, like the feelings kit that helps us to deal with emotional triggers and just take time and think and to journal. We talked about prayer, meditation, food, accountability, support, what you drink, movement. We talked about all of those things, right? Now we're going to give you three. We know that most people watching this are kind of fall into three categories. They're like, great, thanks, but no thanks, or yeah, I'm ready to start or I'm ready to do something. Okay. So this next slide, good. Start with healthy habits. Write in the chat right now what that we just talked about is that you can start a healthy habit with today. What did we just talk about where you can start a healthy habit today? Maybe you are going to start to move when you feel stressed. You're going to get out of the chair and take some deep breaths and move. Maybe you've been putting off the gym. I have a client who had some horrific health issues and stress induced digestive issues. And she just got to the YMCA and started joining the Y. So I'm really excited for her. So what's something good you can start today? And then there's better, right? And better usually is going to take more of an investment. And we highly recommend, out of all the things that we talked about, is the Ninja Red, our Ninja Red Reset Kit. Okay. And this is a beautiful way to start internally supporting the body. And I probably would put here too our premium essential oil kit, but I'll let you and your budget decide that. But we have this beautiful kit, $120, $129 plus shipping and handling. Its value is over $233, but it's just a beautiful way to get started with our Ninja Red. When you spend over $100 with our Young Living, getting back to the person who invited you, you can get a discounted, I think it's like 24% discount, and ask them to, because we have certain kits too. You can get a little code that says, a little code from the person who invited you to see if there's any other discounts you can get. So whether it's the premium essential oil kit or Ninja Red kit, these are great things to start implementing in your day-to-day life to deal with emotions. Or maybe you're already there. You're like, you know what? I'm going to start with a feelings kit, right? And I want to remind you, maybe you have a loved one who you're here watching this for. We can only do it ourselves. When I started on my weight loss journey, my husband, it took him about a year and a half, almost 2 years before he decided to make some of those health journeys. So I encourage you to get started on dealing with your emotions, taking the time, setting boundaries, all of those things. And the ones in our lives who see it, they will eventually make those changes too. And then we have a best option, and I'm going to bring on um, our amazing wellness coach and weight loss coach, Wendy. She's going to talk about our Rev Up wellness program that happens every month, but then our advanced 6 month accountability program and total transformation. Do you want to share a little bit about that? And you can scroll through the success stories there, Wendy.
First, I have to unmute. So, yes, thank you, Mary. I'm happy to share a little bit about this. We do have an amazing, this best option Mary is sharing with us here, our 10-day Rev Up, which we offer these 10 days every single month. And you are able to plug in and really work on the habits, some of the habits that Mary was mentioning, working on getting movement in, working on getting a good hydration, water in every day, working on your balance of good nutrition every single day, and starting to plug in with some accountability with some other people that are on the same journey as you are. We work on mindset in the 10-day Rev Up and start giving you a little heads up on making progress in some of the areas we talked about even here today with our emotional wellness. We give you all tips and some guidance on how to do that through this journey. So that is, and we have been working with people that are getting amazing results following this program. And so I want to share with you, you can, and you'll see here, first time, there's a one-time joining cost of $47. And then we encourage definitely you've got to get on the Ninja Red because it is going to support you so much in so many ways. I've been using it for over 11 years, and it is a staple in our family too, as Mary was sharing the importance of that. And so let me share a couple of, a few of our amazing ladies who've been getting results following our 10-day program. And so I have first up here, we have Anne Marie Kennedy. She lost over 51 pounds, 31.6 inches with 12 rounds of Rev Up. And part of that time, she's also been doing my 6 month transformation program. And so she has made amazing progress in every area of her health as she's plugged in and continues to plug in and work towards her goals. And then we have Kristen Herndon, who is now, she's a recovered type 2 diabetic, has lost over 80 pounds with the help of the Rev Up program. And then we have Gwen Heiler, who has lost 57 pounds and 31.5 inches in the 15 rounds of Rev Up. So some of our people just continue to come in and plug in every single month. And as you continue to plug in, you continue to get results. So it's the beauty of the program. We give you some advice also of kind of what to do between the 10 days to keep on track, depending on how quickly you want to see the results in your health as you move forward. And then, oh yes, here are some of our recent results. We have our October 10-day results. We had 9 people report in. We had 37.8 pounds lost for those 9 people. And of the 6 who reported their inches, we had 20.75 inches were gone forever. And then so far in from let's see, we're about a year and a half in of tracking all of this. We have 2,201 pounds released from all of our participants, 1,235 point inches gone. So you can see this 10-day program gets results. And it's not only the weight loss, it is really amazing transformation in mind, body, and spirit as people have moved through this program. We have so many amazing interviews Mary has shared on her channel, Coach Mary, and you can check out some of those amazing things. We can direct you to that if you have questions. But so much transformation has happened over the time that people plugged into just our 10-day Rev Up program. And then I also offer a 6-month program. I've been doing this for several years also, and our ladies thus far, mainly ladies, some of the husbands do it along in the background. Same thing with our 10-day rev up. We've got men and women going through the program. It's an awesome opportunity for everybody who wants to work on their health at any level. But this is another opportunity to plug into that higher level of accountability with a really intimate support system. And we do weekly Zoom calls. We go through a number of training topics, work on the emotional side of things, work on digging in to really work through mindset to help you change your lifestyle for the long term. So I'm happy to answer questions about that. You can message me. The link here will take you to the application. The doors are open right now, just for a few more days for our next round. So, and then I'll let Mary continue.
Yeah, absolutely. So we definitely want you to get back to the person who invited you and let them know what it's you like best, where you see yourself getting started in your emotional wellness journey. And again, are you a good, better, or best? We did have some questions about the Rev Up too. And we can make sure that we get you a link so you can learn more about that. But one of the things we love about Rev Up is we do fun prizes, and we actually reward you for being accountable every day, for just checking in. And it's so fun to see other people's results and what they like to cook, and whether you're a simple person like me or you're more like, we have some great chefs in there who create some great, we call them rev up recipes. We know Coach Jen has a she loves, we all love shakes as well, right? And Coach Jen has a recipe shake book coming out too, so that's going to be really neat as well. So if you're already in the Rev Up group, we encourage you to check that out. I'm sure she'll have that on her Facebook and Instagram page. All right, so let's see who the winners are of this last October's Rev Up. Yay! So congratulations to Susie. Susie won over $40 Young Living credit. Congratulations to you. I know Susie's lost over 20, I think it's 25 pounds, going through a very stressful time in her life, and already has lost 50 pounds and uses it too to help maintain and get through month to month. So super proud of you, Susie. And then our accountability check-ins, our daily check-ins. Who won that prize? Yay, Charlie Kelly. Congratulations to Charlie. She has a $50 Young Living. This, we call this Christmas cash. So those of you who want a little more cash to go back to maybe buy some gifts from Young Living, or you want to invest it into your next Ninja Red purchase, you've got that. So look for those in the next week or so on your Young Living membership account. And is there one more slide there? So we're gonna end this presentation and just remind you, but we're gonna open it up to questions off the recording. But just thank you so much for all of you who joined us. Again, get back to the person who invited you to this. Let them know, are you good, better, or best? Reach out to one of us as coaches if you want to know more about the Rev Up, or Coach Wendy for the total transformation. I know Coach Jen again has her recipe book coming out. You'll definitely want to get a copy of that as well. So we'll thank you so much for joining us.